Trying to go ahead and get everything set up here a little early. Make sure everything is working. Let's see here. See here. All right, it is 12:30. Don't know how well this is gonna work recording wise. But we're just gonna go for it and hope that it records well. I don't know if the music is too soft or too much. I'll probably dial it back on talking for the most part, but I figure for just the intro, it's okay. Okay. Hopefully everything looks alright. I created this overlay myself for when I was going to stream with my iPad on here. But I'm using it for right now. Just, I wanted to see if it would work. Hopefully it looks okay. I have the outline on to see if it, or to make sure nothing's gonna like cut off. Give me just a moment. Let me make sure that everything looks okay. On OBS, it doesn't really give you a preview necessarily. OBS, it doesn't really give you a preview necessarily. Yes, it doesn't really give you a preview. Okay, I think it looks okay. Probably also kind of need to check the audio if I can. See if you can actually hear the music. Audio if I can. See if you can actually hear the music. audio if I can. See if we can actually hear the music. Audio if I can. See if we can actually hear the music. Audio if I can. I don't like that it's echoing. Sorry. For those who are going to watch this later, it will be edited. For those who are going to watch this later, it will be edited. So I guess nobody can hear the music but me. That's okay. Even though it shows that there's playing audio. That's alright. And now it's not saying that it's like playing at all. Tone that back a bit. This mic is really, really sensitive. Oh goodness, I don't like this transparency mode. Go back to noise canceling. I don't have a stand for it. It usually goes on top of my camera. Just a little poof ball, which the mic underneath it is actually really small. Yeah. Alright, it's 12:36. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of start. I'm gonna say a lot. I'm gonna pause a lot. I'm probably not gonna look at the camera all the time. But that's okay. Also ignore the breakout on my face. I've also got a huge one coming right here. It hurts so bad. I've got 3 lights on me right now, so I know it's highlighting everything awful. But for those of you who don't know me, my name is Alex. I'm 26. I'll be 27 in August. I'm an artist, a photographer, which I know kind of falls under the category of artist, but I usually say it's separate, just because artist is such a broad term. But for me, it's, I do a little bit of everything. So, it's pretty fitting. Like when people ask me, like, oh, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I'm an artist. Like, I do a little bit of everything. And I enjoy doing a little bit of everything. I mean, other than that, I'm just kind of a stay-at-home parent. But previously I have worked like a few sales jobs, marketing, and also custodial work / like environmental services, which is kind of a fancy term for like housekeeper in a hospital, which a lot of places now are adapting that term, um, environmental service worker as opposed to custodian or janitor. Sounds fancier than it is. Just wanted to talk a little bit about me, what I like, what I don't like. Talk a little bit about my hobbies, what I do, and then I'll kind of delve into why we're here. So the hobbies and likes and stuff will kind of intertwine a bit. I'm sorry, I'm tired. I like hiking, being outside a lot, like when it's nice. Like if there's an opportunity for me to be outside, I will, which I could be right now, but I'm recording this, and I know that if I tried to record this outside, it probably wouldn't sound that great because cars and wind. I was going to record this in the garage like I had done previously, but I decided against it because I like to have the door open. There's all kinds of bugs and bees and the cars going by and all that, so I don't want to deal with that. But like I said, I like hiking. Foraging is a lot of fun. Just even the stuff that's in my yard. It's pretty cool. I've learned a lot from TikTok about what to do with just the random weeds in your yard, like violets and dandelions, purple dead nettle. Can't talk. Purple dead nettle, and henbit, which are very similar, but I have both in the yard. A ton of dandelions, a ton of violets, and there was one I learned about yesterday. It's called fleabane. They look kind of like little bitty daisies. They pop up all over the place. So it'll be cool to get to use some of those. Medicinally, I've collected some violets to make a salve with once I get some local beeswax, so that'll be pretty cool. I put playing trombone under hobbies because I guess to me now it is a hobby. It used to not be a hobby. It was like a main thing that I did all the time. Trombone was life for a very long time. But now it's just kind of a for fun thing. I usually get the opportunities to play a couple times a year with a community band in Murray. This summer, I'm not sure that I'll get to do that, depending on. I won't be able to go to the rehearsals because my daughter's got tons and tons of softball games. But maybe they'll still let me perform because it's the same music every year. And I've played in this community band for like since they brought it back. So that was like the year I graduated. So almost a decade. And I play the same music every year. I think I'll be okay if I don't go to the rehearsals. As long as I practice at home, obviously, but playing trombone has been a huge part of my life. Used to be super duper competitive, but now I just kind of do it for fun. And streaming. I find it kind of awkward to be on camera and to talk to a screen. But I'm trying to push myself outside of my comfort zone because this is something I want to do. Not necessarily play games, maybe sometimes, but streaming while I'm making art or streaming when I'm just shooting shit, whenever I feel like it, whatever I feel like it. So that's kind of why I was like, why not? My computer can, for the most part, handle it, I think. I tried Streamlabs. My computer did not handle Streamlabs, so I went back to using OBS with Restream so that I could multi-stream a whole heck of a lot easier. So yeah. There was one day I was talking to my cousin and we send videos to each other like on Snapchat back and forth talking about just like trauma that we've been through. Because even though we had such different upbringings and experiences with our parents, we still deal with the same, similar issues are coming up for us both in adulthood because of our parents. And so we're talking a lot about that. And I was like, man, we could start a podcast and just talk about this shit. And I was like, I can do that. I have all the shit to do it. I've got lighting. I've got a pretty decent computer. I got 2 condenser mics. Just gotta, do it. And I was hesitant to do it. And I was like, what if people don't watch or listen? Who gives a shit? It's not necessarily for the people. It's for me. But my goal really is that I want people to listen and relate and feel like they're not alone. Because I felt like I was alone for the longest time. And I'm not. Even just hearing experiences from a family member who's close in age, who's open to talking about this stuff, has been eye-opening. Because for the longest time, we didn't talk or have much of a relationship because of our parents. Like when we were younger, we're only less than a year apart. So we spent a lot of time together growing up, like when we were little. Mostly at my Nana's, but sometimes I'd go over to her house. Sometimes she would come to my house, but my parents are hoarders, so it wasn't as bad when I was a kid, but as I got older, it just got worse and worse. But she was more of a sibling to me because my mom didn't have another child until I was like almost 5. And her mom didn't have another child until she was 8. And then my mom had another child when I was 8. So there's a pretty big gap between our siblings. So we spent a lot of time together. She was my bestie. I didn't really have any friends at school when I started school either. And then I switched schools. I went to the same school she did. And somewhere around middle school, early high school, things just, I don't know, got complicated. And I didn't really completely understand. Our moms just didn't get along. I understand now, but as an adult, I always felt like I wanted to reach out to her because I missed that relationship with her. And it sucked not having her in my life like that. And now that we were adults and didn't have our parents kind of weaseling in, you know, everything, we could try to have a relationship again. And I tried several times to kind of reach out, but then I got nervous. I was like, she's going to hate me because of the way her parents are and the way they view me and my family. I was just afraid. But after our grandfather died, back in September of last year, we really started to connect more and talk more. I take that back. Well, we did start to talk a little bit more over text, and then it was at a mutual friend's wedding that was one of her best friends, and I was photographing the wedding, where we added each other on Snapchat again, and we've talked quite a bit since then, and that's been really great. And I hope sometime that she'll get to be on here with me and we can talk about some things. I don't know how comfortable she will be, like if I do video, you know, she shows her face, maybe not, maybe just audio, but it would be great to have her as a guest on here to talk about things. And I also plan on talking with other people that are interested in sharing. I would really enjoy that, as opposed to just sitting here and talking to myself. Kind of derailed there for a little bit. I tried to plan out kind of how I was gonna go through things, but obviously nothing ever goes to plan. I kind of wrote down like what my likes and dislikes are. I don't know how relevant that is. It just kind of, I think, says a little about me, maybe. I don't know. But like, I had to sit here for a minute and think about what I like and what I don't like, and all the different kinds of things that you can like and dislike was a little like overloading for my brain. But I like cats. I like flowers. And the outdoors just in general. I like art. Music. I like being involved in things. I have serious like FOMO. I don't like missing out on opportunities, so I like to take any and every opportunity, even if I'm nervous, which a lot of the time I am. I like organizing and planning things. I've always been that way. I like planners. I like notebooks. I like pulling drawers out or taking shit out of a cabinet and reorganizing everything. I don't always have the energy to do that, but I love doing that kind of thing. I do like some video games. Like in middle school, I played a lot of Mario Kart Double Dash. There was like this Harry Potter Quidditch game for the GameCube that I played quite a bit too. And then we got a Wii. Played Wii Sports. There was a Tangled game that was pretty cool. When I was really little, though, I had a Sega Genesis, and I played the Lion King game that was really hard. I never could get past a certain level, like most people. And then there was a boxing game that I don't remember what the name is, and some people have been like, maybe it was the Mike Tyson one, but I don't know what it was. I'd have to, like, I remember the sound effects that it made and kind of what it looked like. But it was just wild. Um, and then even as like a toddler, I played computer games on massive dinosaur computers because my dad built computers. He looks like a computer engineer and shit. I played games on floppy disks even, which they're obsolete now. But that's just funny. I did have a lot of CD games though, like Elmo and Grouchland. There was one, oh, I just bought my daughter a book that is the same thing as this one computer game I had where they went fishing. Oh man, I can't remember. They look kind of like, not porcupines, but the cartoon style was interesting. But I don't know, it was a fishing game. Like you go fishing with your dad or something. I don't remember. And then I had an interactive Pooh game that came with like this, what looked like a stuffed Pooh bear that you hooked up to your computer and like interacted with him. That was like supposedly a pretty big thing when I was like 3 or 4 years old. I don't think I played with that one as much, but I do remember what it looked like and stuff. Like it was like a Pooh bear that looked like a stuffed animal, but it was hard and it moved a little bit and talked. Kind of weird. He usually sat underneath the computer table. And then another computer game I played a lot, even up into my like preteen years, was Claw. And I've never met anybody else who has ever played this game or even knows about this game. It's like a 2D, reminds me of like how like the 2D Mario stuff is, where you like have to go up levels and stuff. Well, it's like this pirate cat that's like trying to fight off these pirate dogs. And I don't know, I've found it online before too. It's like, it's a pretty cool game. I think I beat it. And now obviously like I have a Switch, but before then the console that I had before that was a Wii. And I have some trauma when it comes to video games, so it's been really hard for me to play anymore or like be around people who play a whole bunch. It's just like, that's a fun thing. We'll get into that sometime. But I do enjoy playing Animal Crossing and Mario Kart still. And then yesterday I just got the new thing they just came out with like a few days ago. That's kind of the equivalent to Wii Sports, but it's like Nintendo Switch Sports. I haven't played it yet because I have not got on my Switch in months. But I look forward to playing with that because I enjoyed Wii Sports. That, and I watched Julian Solomita. He streamed last night playing, and I was like, I have to buy this now. Other things I like that are maybe a little less like objective, maybe. Mindfulness. I like being mindful, and I like when other people are mindful. I'm also a huge advocator for social justice. That's a big thing for me. Dislikes. I don't like milk. Dairy milk is gross. I don't like it. Oat milk is pretty good. Almond milk, eh. Human milk, I don't understand why we drink cow's milk and not our own milk, but that can be another conversation for another day as well. I don't like avocados. They're fucking disgusting. That's a very unpopular opinion, but they're gross. Their texture is like worse than butter. It's ugh. And it tastes like grass, or it has, as some people have said on the internet, like clean dick. Which isn't exactly inaccurate. But avocados are gross and I don't like them. I don't like loud sounds or high frequencies. Just get overstimulated. And these headphones have been a blessing. I just got these. They're the same brand as another pair of headphones that I have, which are the Anchor brand. These are called like Sound Buds Life or Sound Life something Q35. And they're really cool. They're noise canceling, but it has different modes. You can go through like normal and transparency, so you can still hear things around you, or different modes within the noise canceling part, where like depending on if you're indoors, outdoors, or transport. So like if you're in a car or on a bus or on a plane, it'll adjust. It has an app that you can get that controls all of that. It's really cool. I don't like rude people. I myself am a rude person though. Not necessarily like in a bad way, but like I don't like blatantly rude people who do it to just be rude and be mean. That's what I don't like. I was just gonna put on here that I don't like people. That's not entirely true. Like, but you know, I don't like closed-mindedness. People who are like willfully ignorant and are closed-minded by choice just piss me off. Anyways, I don't like the media or the rich or America. Very unpopular opinion here where I live, but I don't really care because the things that have been happening and are still happening in this country is really fucked up, and I hate it. Like, I'm very, like I said, passionate about social justice things, and I will talk about it until I die. Because it's important to me, and it's important for everybody who lives here. But a lot of people just don't, like, care. Or they're the opposite. And they love America so much. But how can you love it if you know true American history? How can you love it? Question for another time. I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about people who inspire me, which you might think like, oh, celebrities, musicians, artists, whatever. It's not always super big people. For me, like, it's just people I've been following on social media for years that I happen to stumble upon. Just neutrals, even though I've never met these people in my life. They've helped me in a way that I don't think that they even really know or understand, because I'm a stranger on the internet to them. But strangers can still have a pretty huge impact. And I did kind of want to highlight a few of those individuals. Obviously, this isn't like a full list. These are just what I could think of off the top of my head. And I'm not going to say all of their, like, full names, because some of them I don't know their full names. I just know their, like, online tag name, whatever. A couple from Instagram that I've been following for years now that have been huge inspirations. The Royal We, I believe her name is Holly. She's wonderful. I've connected with her on Instagram and Tumblr, which I don't really get on Tumblr much anymore, but she's been a big inspiration. Allie all along, someone also I found on Instagram, and she also has TikTok. Lady Gaga. I'm a huge fan of Lady Gaga for, obvious reasons. Like, her music is pretty decent. There's some that I don't exactly vibe with, but just her as a person is pretty cool. And if you haven't watched, like, the documentary about her, I recommend doing that. Same thing kind of with Demi Lovato. I didn't put her on this list because I was like, but she is still, or they are still pretty inspirational. Bo Burnham. I've been a fan of his since I was a teenager. And when he came out with Inside, wow. That's all I have to say about that. Jenna and Julian, for obvious reasons. Also been watching them since I was a teenager. Mostly, Jenna. I could say so many wonderful things about both of them and how they've positively impacted my life and made my days better just by being them. Markiplier. At first I really didn't like Markiplier, and I can explain that in another video sometime, but when I started watching him myself as opposed to just kind of hearing him in the background, because a partner of mine was watching him. I'm not so much like the gameplay stuff, but some of his other videos and just him being him and talking about his life and stuff. He's pretty cool. I tried to think of people on TikTok because there are several that are pretty impactful, and I can only think of one. Their handle on there is Dub Frost. I think her name is Whitney. She lives in Kentucky and has 3 kids, one of which recently passed away. And watching her journey and her family's journey through the stuff that they deal with, it's been a lot, but she's really funny and relatable in a lot of ways, and I'm glad that I found her on TikTok. And then somebody else I also wanted to mention that I've been oohing and cooing over her podcast, and that's kind of what pushed me to do this, is Cara Lowenthal. She has a podcast called Unfuck Your Brain, and it's amazing. She was a social justice lawyer, went to Harvard Law School, and now is a life coach. And she has this huge podcast and this thing called Clutch College, which is like, it's similar to the podcast in that you get a lot of similar information, but it dives deeper and you get like coaching from not just her but other coaches, and I think that that's really cool. And I'm glad that I found her podcast. I listen to it on Spotify, but I'm sure it's probably on all kinds of other platforms as well. But watching her or listening to her podcast have really kind of helped me analyze my thoughts and feelings and just be even more mindful than I already was. Now I'll just kind of run through like my diagnoses, what like my treatment plan is, and my goals and hopes for this podcast. Which in another episode I'll kind of detail my journey throughout getting these diagnoses and how I was misdiagnosed originally, and now we're here. Still working on certain things, but we're here. I have PTSD, complex PTSD. That's not in the DSM yet, but for those of you who don't know the difference between PTSD and complex PTSD, is that PTSD stems from one event, whereas complex PTSD kind of compiles, chronic trauma, whether it be childhood trauma or abuse from a relationship over the course of years, or, it can just add up. That's why it's complex. And that's what I deal with. And it's a pain in my ass. ADHD, which, coming to the conclusion that I have ADHD made so much sense. And the fact that I didn't get diagnosed until just last year is kind of wild to me, but I'll get into that later. I have hypothyroidism. I don't know if it's caused by some of the medications I was on, or if it's hereditary or what. I don't know, but that's also been a pain in my butt. I have TMJ. Could be caused by excessive trombone playing, a mixture of that and anxiety, and just holding a lot of tension here in my face and my neck. It also affects my left ear a lot, and I have to take medicine for that, and it gives me really bad tension migraines, so that's fun. And PCOS, which I've never had a cyst that I know of. I just have the hormone imbalance and the hair growth and the breakouts. Which I tried birth control, helped the breakouts and kind of slowed the hair growth, but it made my migraines worse. So that's not an option. But the things that have worked for me: therapy. I know that, like, there's a stigma still. Therapy is wonderful. You just have to find the right therapist and the right type of therapy. So for me, doing cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, has been, relatively effective. But also doing dialectical behavioral therapy, there's a whole workbook. It's free. There's a free PDF. I can try to post that on my page, because it's an amazing resource for not just people with borderline personality disorder, which is what DBT usually is used for, but it can also be effective in treating, well, I don't say treating autism, but helping autistic individuals figure out their spaghetti brain, as I like to call my spaghetti brain. EMDR therapy, which is eye movement desensitization, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, something like that. I probably butchered the shit out of that, but it's fine. I highly recommend you Google it. It sounds and looks really hokey, but it works. I don't know how the fuck it works, but it does. It's been since August since I had my last session, but my therapist is about to get trained to do it so that I can restart it, and I'm super excited because it was really helpful, even though it felt like the whole time I was doing it wrong or that it was just really weird. Taking medication, which I never wanted to do. Can talk about that in another episode as well. I could talk about a lot of this shit forever. But finding the right meds really changed my life. And for those of you who have known me for years, can probably see that. Also, I just want to say that today, it's been 3 years since I bought my car, which means here in a few days, it will be 3 years since I got my license, which is a very big deal. And also, another resource that I've used that not a lot of people know about is Nami, National Alliance for Mental Illness, which there are chapters, I think, all over the United States, hopefully the world. I don't really know internationally if there are, but going to Nami, it's kind of like group therapy, and it's helped me a whole bunch. So I highly encourage you to find your local Nami and join. Some meet more often than others, but it's still worth it for sure. So I kind of wanted to get into like what my goals and hopes are for this podcast and stuff. I want to be able to post weekly, do interviews, grow support, post on bigger platforms, and get a more widespread reach, because ultimately, like, I want to help people. I want to help people. I want to inspire people. I want to, I don't know, just have a more widespread reach. And to collab with people and share that with the world. I feel like a lot of what's in my head isn't supposed to stay there. I'm supposed to share it. It's just finding a means to share it. But I really want to help people. Now, some people have been like, well, why don't you become a therapist or something like that? That's a lot. I'd rather just use the creative gifts and talents that I have and take that and run with it, as opposed to racking up more student loan debt and going back to school and stressing myself out, because that's a lot. So I'm just gonna, for right now, use the tools that I have to try and put myself out there. Yeah, I mean, I hope, kind of want to not go super long on this. But if anybody ever has any questions, or wants to collab or has ideas, just let me know. Comment on any of my social medias or message me on any of my social media platforms. Um, I'm sorry, I'm trying to look something up real quick. I hope those of you who have tuned in and watched that maybe you've learned something new about me. I know this was kind of all over the place. It's going to be a pain in the ass to edit, and we'll see how that goes, and I'll try and get that posted sometime, maybe today. It just depends. Got a softball game later. We're supposed to, you know, if it doesn't rain and stuff, so hoping for that. Also, just want to say something funny that happened earlier, in relation to softball. So Ellie's on an AE team, right? And they want to travel, so they want to have like kind of an all-stars travel team that goes and travels and does like tournaments and stuff. And so they're trying to come up with a name, like a different name that's not kind of related to our specific team names. So like we have 2 teams because we had too many girls. So one's the Cardinals, and then our team, we're the Redbirds. They didn't want to deviate too far. So, but just there was a few suggestions in the group chat for this travel team, and one of the suggestions a lot of people liked. All I could think about is farts. Because the name is the Lady Rippers, and all I can think about when I hear the term like Lady Rippers is just farting, which if that's what y'all want to go with, that's fine. I don't know that I could come up with anything better, but it is kind of funny. There was one, my friend sent me a link to a whole bunch of different like names, and one was like serial killers, but like cereal, like the food. Lots of ones about balls. Hit starters, so instead of shit starters, it's hit starter. I don't know. Lots of really funny puns, but like they're 8, so you know, you kind of got to be appropriate when you're doing those kinds of things. But I just thought that was funny. But yeah, if you guys have any feedback or questions or suggestions, let me know. I would love to get feedback. If you just want to roast me also, that's fine too. Roasting me is perfectly fine. I can handle being roasted sometimes. And because I would like to try, and push this onto bigger sites and work on getting a widespread reach, eventually it's something that I would like to try and monetize. Obviously, if I can. I will put, once I post this, which hopefully I can figure out how to do that. Once I post this, I will put an affiliate link in the description, and following the link in the show notes lets Buzzsprout, which is the platform on which I will use to host these, it'll let Buzzsprout know that, we sent you. It gets you a $20 Amazon gift card if you sign up for a paid plan and help support the show. I heard really good things about Buzzsprout from some groups that I looked at on Facebook and from Google. Because originally I was going to go with Anchor, but I did not hear good things. Anchor, I think, is just through Spotify. But I wanted to have a little bit more control over things. So hopefully everything will post fine and do well, and we'll figure it out as we go. But I appreciate all of you who have tuned in this afternoon and listened to me ramble. For the next episodes, I have a whole list of ideas that I'm going to try and go off of. I think the second one I've already posted what it's going to be on Facebook. Do I remember what it's called? No. Maybe Progress. Well, that'll be next Tuesday. I'm going to try and do one every Tuesday. I'll do it live and then I'll post it later. Hopefully I can figure that out, like I said. It's going to be fun. But I'm doing it on Tuesdays because I want to call it Trauma Tuesdays. Because obviously this is going to be a podcast all about trauma. And just talking right about it. Getting into it. Into the thick of it. Into the thick of it. Just diving right in. Because I love talking about it. I could never shut up about it. So that's why I'm doing a podcast, so that I don't have to shut up about it. You don't have to listen, but I'm still going to talk about it. But thank you guys for tuning in on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. I will try to post this later for other people to listen to, hopefully. Try to get it posted to Spotify and Apple Podcasts if I can figure out how to do that. And like I said earlier, any suggestions, you want to roast me, any questions, hit me up. I'm open to feedback. I am open to feedback. I think I actually said that I was going to do this for an hour and a half, and I've only talked for about an hour. But that's fine. I've kind of run out of introductory things to talk about. I also don't know if you can hear the music. I tried to figure that out at the beginning, and it just echoed on the thing. I can hear music in my headphones, and it says desktop audio, and it shows. But I don't know if you can hear it. I'll have to figure some shit out. But that's okay. I'll also try and do some different overlays. I've got a few different ones that I've made. I'll try and make some more to put on here. But yeah. Happy Tuesday. I hope everyone has a great rest of their day and a great rest of their week. Mercury goes into retrograde next week. So it's going to be a fun time. The shadow period has already been a fun time. So, you know, you do you. Be a badass bitch. It has been nice talking to you. I'm going to turn these fucking lights off now because I'm blind. And I'm going to go eat some snacks. I will see you guys next week, or talk to you guys next week, whatever, however you want to go for it. Hopefully next week things will be a little bit more organized, but thank you guys for tuning in. Love you guys. I will see you in a week.